Hi guys, we are here for math and we are still doing fractions in math. You guys did awesome yesterday on working on equal shares, and you also did that activity on Seesaw about making halves, and that's what we're going to be doing today, making halves. Now remember, equal shares are when a whole shape or a whole of anything, right? A whole football game gets broken into parts, right? A whole football game gets broken into 4 quarters. The time slot for each quarter is the same. So we're working with shapes and figuring out how to partition or break them into parts. And the parts that we're working on today are equal shares or halves, 2 equal shares, right? So we on our Zoom lesson the 2 days ago, right, on Tuesday, we talked about cutting pizza into equal shares, right? So my equal shares today on my pizza, I want to focus on halves. So that means 2 equal shares, right? So I have 1 equal share and 2 equal shares, right? This side is the exact same size as this side, right? They make 1 out of 2, right? This is 1 and this is 2. Together, they make a whole. Apart, they make 2 halves. This is 1 of 2 that Miss Egan might eat, and this is the other 1 of 2 that maybe Mr. Egan will eat, right? Together, we would eat a whole pizza. I eat 1 half, Mr. Egan ate another half. That's a lot of pizza. I'm not eating that much pizza. But just for you guys to remember that is what we are working on today. I'm going to leave that there. And we are working on halves. So halves is the plural. That means when you have more than 1, right? So 2 halves make a whole. If I only eat 1 half, it looks like this. 1 half or 2 halves, right? We know we're familiar with that ES or the S at the end of plural. 1 half, 2 halves. Okay, so I'm going to use this pizza to help us with the beginning of our book. So if you don't have your book yet, then give Miss Egan a quick pause and get a pencil too. And once you're ready, we are in our math workbook on page 537, 3-digit number, 5 hundreds, 3 tens, 7 ones. Wow, big number. Okay, so at the very top of the page, you see that big watermelon? Okay, let's use our pizza. I'm going to pretend this pizza is a watermelon, okay, guys? 2 friends eat equal shares of a watermelon slice. How much of the slice does each friend eat? So if this is, let's say this is the watermelon slice. I know it's a pizza, but let's pretend, right? It's the same shape. It's what we're working with. In our circle, how can I split this so that 2 friends eat equal shares? If I want to give 1 part of this to Jacob and I want to give an equal part of it to Matthias, I'm going to split it in half. I have to create that line of symmetry, right? If I were to fold this up, look, if I fold it up, then you can't see the one behind it because they are equal, right? They are equal shares, right? I can put them together and they make a whole. 2 halves make a whole. So this is one way you could do it. You could split it down, right? Going top, bottom. You could do it this way, right? This way or this way. Does it matter? Nope. Just like when we do our math equations, what you want to focus on is where you do it, right? If I put the line up here, would it be a line of symmetry? No. So where you put it does matter, but sometimes across or sometimes up and down, that does not make a difference. What matters is if they create equal shares, right? And that's why sometimes equal shares can be tricky. You have to look at where the lines are and if both sides are equal. Okay, I know you guys have a pretty good feeling of equal shares, right? And halves, so let's jump right over to number 1. Okay, circle the shapes that show halves. So if it is showing half, then you're going to give it a circle. If it does not show a halves, give it a big X. Okay? Number 1 is a round circle. Now, this is a great way to do it either if you're having trouble or just like as a fun game. You could make shapes on a piece of paper, and then you're going to fold the shape in that line of symmetry, right? And I folded my shape in half, right? And to make it look like the one in the book is kind of on a diagonal, but anyway I spin this, right? See that line? Any way I turn that, there's still halves, right? So yes, that pink circle does show halves. Circle that up. All right, number 2, that green rectangle. That green rectangle. Does that green rectangle show halves? Let's see. Let's see. I use poster paper, so it's a little hard to fold. That's right. That green rectangle does show half. That line is right down the middle, and it shows the line of symmetry, splitting that whole green rectangle into 2 equal shares, into 2 halves. Okay. The yellow square. It's a square, but it's turned, right? Not quite a diamond. Diamonds are a little bit longer. Rhombus, Miss Egan, right? So that line is right about here. Now, just by the way I'm folding it, they're not meeting. Remember when I showed you how the 2 pizza halves, how if I put them together, if I folded them, then they completely cover each other. And already the way that I'm folding this, you can tell. What do you think? Are those equal shares? Is this side the same as this side? No, they are not. It does not make the same shape. This side is a triangle, right? And then this side is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided shape. What's a 5-sided shape? Remember our 5-sided shapes? Pentagon, like a house. That's right. So this one does not show equal shares. Give that a big X. All right, number 4, another square. That line is right here. So let's fold. The way that I'm folding, I think you already have a good clue. Well, let's open it up and see. What do we think? Does that show a line of symmetry? Does that take this big square and break it into 2 equal shares, into 2 halves? Yep. Absolutely. Circle that one up. Okay, next we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided shape. What's a 6-sided shape called? Hexagon. Good job. All right, that hexagon has a line kind of like this. Now again, see the way I'm folding. Does that remind you of anything? Does that look like it could be a line of symmetry? Let's see. Is that equal shares? Is this the same as that? It is not. This does not show halves. Halves are always equal shares. And these are not show equal shares. So these are not halves. Give that a big X. All right, and then our last one on this page, we have a triangle. Now in the triangle, the line is coming out of this vertex, right? This vertex, remember, that is the word for corner. Triangles have 3 sides, 3 corners. Let's fold it up. All right, Miss Egan's folding is not doing too great a job here. Okay, just by the way I folded it, do you have a clue? It does show equal shares. Super, super job, guys. Give that a big circle. You rocked it. Okay, Now, if you turn to the next page, we're going to work through page 538 together also. Now, I had shared this website, or kind of like an app with moms and dads. If you had a chance to look at it, great. If not, I just wanted you to be have a chance to look at it so that you knew what I was doing today, because it matches with what's in our book. Now, you guys may remember these are geo boards, right, that we use in class with our rubber bands, and we love making shapes. And today we're just going to use them to help us identify and find equal shares. All right. So number 7 is a blue square. And what they want us to do in the book is to make halves, and then to color one half, to color one of the 2 halves. So here's what we're going to do. I want to split this into halves. I'm going to follow exactly what the book did, right? I'm going to drag my rubber band over so that I can easily see before I start to color. Now I'm going to color it blue just because that's what they did in the book. And look at this. It doesn't have to be the neatest coloring, but I'm only going to color on one side because it's showing me, I'm showing that this is one half. Like if I asked you, how much of this piece of paper did you cut, right? You'd say, I cut one half of the piece of paper. This is the half that I cut. That's showing that. So that's what they are showing you in the example on number 7. That's why that top part is colored in. So that's what we're going to do on number 8 together. Number 8 is an orange triangle. Now, number 8 is an orange rectangle. Miss Egan, mixing up our shapes here. So we have an orange rectangle here. Now, we want to split this into 2 halves. Now, I can do this a number of ways, right? I can do a line. I can take a rubber band. Whoops. I can take a rubber band, right, and bring one down vertically, right? And I can color in this half. But there's another way I could split this in half too, right? If I wanted to, right, that shows one of the two halves. There is one side shaded. One of 2 is shaded. Now, if I wanted to split this way, does that also show 2 halves? Thumbs up if yes, thumbs down if no. Yeah, that does also show 2 halves. They're not the same size as the other 2 halves, but that's okay. They're the same size as each other, right? So those are another way to create 2 equal shares. 2 equal shares is 2 halves, right? 1 half, 2 half. So if you wanted to do it that way, you could do it that way. And then I'm gonna shade it in. I shaded in 1 half. Right? 1 out of the 2. Thumbs up. Woo woo. Rocked it. All right. And now the last one they want us to do is a green circle. So first I have to make a half. So I can split the circle the same way I did the rectangle. I have 2 ways I can do this. I can split it this way and color this side. I'm going to switch it up to green. And I can color in this side, right? Just like our pizzas. Remember I talked about how we can split it straight down, or I can split it this way. And then I'm going to color in 1 half. I just shaded in or colored in 1 half of my whole. But I know if there's halves, then there has to be how many equal shares? 2. Half only refers to when a whole is broken into 2 parts, right? 2 partitions, right? That big word, partition. Now let me show you guys something. If I decide to do this, does that work also? Absolutely. Remember I turned that. That works too. Right? You can make a half in lots of different ways. What you want to focus on is that when you make that half, that both sides, both parts are equal. right? So let's try this one. Does that show equal shares? No. Does that show equal shares? No. Does that show equal shares? Definitely not. Definitely not. Okay, so I hope you had fun with that. I put that link on our Seesaw, so that's something that you guys can work on if you want. You do not have to, but it's definitely fun activity to do. And let's do number 10, our problem solving together. Blake cuts a piece of paper in half. Circle the picture that shows half of Blake's paper. So if we know the size of Blake's half, and we know halves are equal shares, then the other piece of paper must be what? Equal means that they are the same, right? So if his is 1/2, if I know that his is this size, right? Then I must know that the other side of paper is the exact same size, right? They are equal shares. They're going to be the same. It could not look like this, right? If he cut a piece of paper, it wouldn't look like this, right? This is even too big. This couldn't be the rest of the paper, and that he cut this part out. That would not be equal, right? No way, no way. So, which one does it have to be? It has to be the one that shows 2 halves, that first illustration. Super, super. All right, let's problem solve number 11 together. Kaylee and Leah each eat half of a square slice of cheese. What shape can each of their halves be? The shape of their halves can be, well, remember before when I took our rectangle? Let's do this again. I took our rectangle, and you can create 2 rectangles. So a shape can be another rectangle, right? Or I can split it in half this way, corner to corner. Now what shape did I make? Triangles, that's right. So if you take a rectangle and you split it in half, you either create 2 rectangles or 2 triangles. If I did it this way, 2 rectangles, that's right, because they look similar to squares, but they are not all equal sides, right? Those are still rectangles. A square is a type of rectangle. So it can either be a rectangle or a triangle is what Kaylee and Leah's sandwich would be. Rectangles or triangles. And let's just read the write about it together. Can 1/2 of a shape be larger than the other half? What do you think? Can 1/2 of a shape be larger than the other half? No, because half means that it is an equal share. And if it is equal, then they must be the same. Halves are 2 equal shares. They are the same size. All right, guys, thumbs up. Let me see if you can do pages 539 all by yourself. I know you can. You rock this. You are amazing mathematicians. All right, I will see you later for religion. Bye.